Hello and welcome to Two Girls, One Pod. I'm Melissa,
I'm Crystal.
and today we are here with Megan Warren, who is the owner of Ethereal, Megan? Ethereal Boutique. So that is a local boutique store here in St. John's, Newfoundland. For anybody who is not from St. John's, Newfoundland and can't go check it out, you can certainly visit her website. We will make sure to put it in this episode's link, and we'll throw it all over the internet, and Megan will say it a few times while we're talking today. So Megan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing really good. How are you?
Fantastic. My tea tastes better now.
Oh,
I told her before we started recording.
That's all.
Yeah, I poured up a cup of tea and I started drinking it, and it was gross. And now it tastes better. It's like wine and like beer, I feel. I'm getting used to it.
Like it tastes like that?
No, like, you know how you have to develop a taste for wine and beer? Like nobody just drinks wine and is like, this is the best.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet.
Right? Yeah. That's what I mean. Not it doesn't if it tasted like wine and beer, I'd be really happy. I like it now. So anyway, tell us about yourself, Meg. Who are you?
Well, I am a 30-year-old, but
Woo! 30 clubs.
I've been a business owner now for 4 years. 4 years
Woo-hoo!
actually yesterday.
Congratulations. Anniversary date.
Yeah, so I opened up the shop 4 years ago. That was in my sister's basement, which is actually how I know you guys is through how I know Crystal. I know Melissa because we played volleyball and we were on the really bad team together.
Yes. Oh, yes, we were. See, I forgot about our volleyball days. I remembered that we were cheerleading together in high school. Because that was the first time I met your sister. So Jill is, and she'll probably be on the show at some point, is a really close friend of all of ours as well. It's Megan's sister. And the first time I met her was because she picked you up in the summer. We used to have to do summer cheerleading practice, and we had to go for like a run one day. And I think she drove me home, or I don't remember, but that was when I first met
wonder,
Jill.
does Jill remember that?
Oh,
I think so. Yeah, that'd be a good question.
Yeah. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah. Okay. We'll ask her.
Yeah. But yeah, no, me and you, I remember very distinctly sitting on the bench being like, we're on the B team.
Oh, yeah.
People were practicing next to us and we were on the other side.
Well, the best thing about that was that were you in grade 10 then? I remember being in like the B team and all of the grade 10s, like in grade 12. I remember being in grade 12 and being on like the junior team, quote unquote. But then all the young ones who had just started in our school were the senior team, like, because they were unbelievable volleyball players. And we like to have fun. We were there to have a good time. We weren't winning a lot of games.
No, not at all. But like I said, we were just there to mingle. It was great.
Yes, we were social.
Yeah, and that's literally, like I said, it's so funny because that's literally how I met you. And I know Crystal obviously through Jill and Brad and whatever. So, but we're just all one big group of friends now.
We
Pretty
really
much,
are. Yeah. It gets to the point where you just collide so much that you just don't remember. Like, like, okay, I know this person from a long time ago, but you start to mingle and mesh so much that it's like, we're just all friends. Like, we just know each other.
Yeah. I think I can still remember the first time that I met you when you came to my house for a Halloween party, one of my epic Halloween parties, of course.
So
and I'm pretty sure you were dressed up as Marilyn Monroe from like Diamonds Are a Girl Best Friend.
Okay, we have to do a deep dive on that because I remember that party. That was such a fun night. We're gonna do some deep dives and throw that up on Instagram because Meg would love it.
That was an outfit. But I'm obsessed with Marilyn Monroe at the time. Actually, she's actually right up here on my wall still. I have a really big Marilyn Monroe phase. So I obviously had to dress up as her for Halloween.
Of course.
Why not?
She's an icon in herself too.
Yeah. I even have a quote of her tattooed on my ribs.
What does it say?
Yep.
Imperfection is beauty.
Oh, I love that. That's a Marilyn Monroe quote?
Oh, it is. I had a snaggletooth at the time. This is pre-braces. So my way to embrace my imperfection.
Oh, you should have kept it. Swap braces. Let's get the snaggle back on the go.
Well, I don't wear my retainer anymore. It might come back. We'll
You
see.
never know. Oh my God, too funny.
Too funny.
All right, so your boutique is ethereal. What does that mean? There's a meaning behind the name?
So ethereal means too light and delicate for this world, like unworldly beauty kind of thing. So like I feel like a lot of people have different I guess perceptions of what that means to them. For some people it's like, you know, fairies and whatever, but for me it's about like something. I want people to feel beautiful and like you don't belong on this planet, you're so gorgeous when you leave the store kind of thing. Like that's kind of where the name came from, because I really enjoyed the word and the meaning of the word, of just like I said, light and delicate. That's why I like everything in the store is like, you know, soft flowers, like generally all the, oh my goodness, all like the color palette generally is very soft and, you know, pinks and whites and creams and, you know, all those like really soft colors kind of thing. I mean, I do other colors, but that's kind of where my palette kind of lands with how I do the store. And I want to try and make it like even the inside of the store is all pink and white and stuff. So it's all, like I said, very, very light and delicate and stuff like that. So like that's where my head was at when I was creating the name, was that I wanted it to be something that could describe how I want someone to feel when they leave. So
I love that.
how
Me too.
out. So except for some people come in, they're like, what is this store? Is this what do you carry? So and they're British.
They're
They could
always
be.
British. They're always British.
But like that's where the name came from. So a lot of people pronounce ethereal wrong. So usually it's ethereal or ethereal or ethereal. I don't even, I've heard so many terrible renditions of it. But for the
I've probably been one of them, because I'm always mispronouncing things, which is why I was like, I'm gonna get her to say it so that like the world knows how to pronounce it a little bit better, you know, or at least 12 of our followers. I think we've got 12 followers. So there are going to be 12 people who know how to say the name of your store at least.
we will hate them. But like it's to me, I guess I've heard the word many times, but for some people they've never heard it. So it's
Right.
like
That's true.
it's, you know, not in their repertoire of words. So it's like, you know, I can't really expect people to know. So I just every now and again like to pop on Instagram and be like, hey guys, this is how you say it.
Like this. That's a good idea.
So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Was it like your first choice of a name, or did you maybe have to go through 3 name changes too?
We've changed our name a few times.
My one and only.
Oh,
Wow.
that's awesome.
I literally was like, no, I like that. That's
It was
it.
kismet.
I'm not even gonna look at another one. And like I feel like it's one of those things that like, I don't want to overthink. I didn't want to overthink it. And like it's sometimes when you do put too much thought into it, it's, I don't know, it becomes a little like meh. Like I don't know. Like,
you know what? Touching on that, I think that is the problem, Crystal, because in our first, so we brainstormed names like forever ago, and Two Girls One Pod was a name that we brainstormed originally, and we went past it, and then we were the Why the Fuck Not podcast. But I think maybe what we did is we just had too many options, and we went past the one that we needed. And then it got too complicated and we ended up having to kind of backtrack. But when we went back like through everything, I feel like this really represents us a lot better than the other two did anyway.
Agreed.
So we should have just went with Megan's thought.
Creativity sometimes can be great, but sometimes can, you know, dig you into a hole that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
So like I just I guess heard that name, heard that word. I knew that word, and I was on Pinterest. Funny enough, I was on Pinterest. This is where I saw it, because I was just literally doing, like, I was trying to find ideas of like what I wanted for the store and stuff like that. And it was this little picture that had come up while I was scrolling, and it said like ethereal, and it was like, and then it described it, and I was like, I love that word. Like I've heard that word, I've used that word. I'm like, that is perfect. Like that is like Ethereal Boutique. And because I wanted it to be boutique, but it was like I stumbled upon it. I didn't just, I wasn't looking.
The universe gave it to you.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like it was like, you know, you're on Pinterest and you're like, yeah, like floral, like, like floral stores, like just like trying to get like ideas flowing, get like some creativity coming in. And then it just kind of popped up and I was like, oh, that's good. That's a good like
everything lined up.
what I want to embody. So it was, like I said, it was like, yeah, the universe gave it to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Me too.
Lined up. We're getting very spiritual lately. Like myself and Crystal are always talking
True.
about the universe and the law of attraction and how, things come the more that you think about them and all this sort of stuff. So we're really on board with that explanation.
Yeah. It happened for a reason. Like there's like, I'm a very large believer in that. Actually funny that you've been saying that, because like I feel like every time I talk to Mom and Jill, like I go that route.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if this didn't happen, then whatever wouldn't have happened if I like, and I just go into this like spiral of that.
Mhm.
It's like, calm down, Megan. Your life
Calm
is
down,
bad
Megan.
because of one thing, like the butterfly effect here, but it's fine.
Yeah, but it's so true. It's so true. So when did you first develop an interest in fashion?
All my whole life. I don't remember things of my childhood based off of, landmarks, whatever. I remember what I was wearing.
Amazing.
Like, wow. Wholeheartedly, me and Jill go through photos all the time of us when we're kids, and so often I'm like, oh my God, that coat, oh my God, I remember the texture of it. Oh, I wish I had it. Oh, and it had like butterflies and there was a flower, and then like I can remember fabrics. Like me and Jill were literally looking at a picture of me and her the other day, and I remembered the coat I had on. I was like, it was this rubber, like polka dotted red coat that it was like white with red polka dots, and underneath there was about this much that you could probably see of the dress. And I was like, oh my God, do you remember that dress? It was all floral on the bottom and it had on the top. I might have been 4.
You were obsessed.
Jill's in Sparks. So she would have been, I guess 6, maybe like 5 or 6. So I would have been 3 or 4 in that photo. And I still remember. So like, it's like, fashion was always something for me. And my mom actually, through my entire life, I'm pretty sure it was just like the different phases of Megan, because it was like, I went through the phase of all I wanted to wear was dresses when I was like 3 and 4. And then I went through this, like, we call it my Johnny Cash phase. All I wanted to wear was black.
Black
Black head to toe, like my black, 725 original shoes, my black cardigan with my black headband, like, and my little, like, little, what are they called? Ponytails and whatever. Like, that was just, that was that phase. And then I went into my tomboy phase. I guess we don't call it that anymore, but like that, like, all I would wear was like pretty much boys' clothes. I would wear big wide pants and the Adidas, t-shirts and sweatshirts. And do you remember those headbands that we used to wear? It was like a napkin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your neck, your head, and like that. Like I distinctly remember that outfit. It was like an Adidas t-shirt with these really terrible big wide pants.
I like the Dickies.
It's back in style.
Yeah.
But then you go, then it was like the next phase is all I would wear was really low cut shirts, and then all I would wear was turtlenecks, and then I was an emo kid, and then it was like this big progression. It was each part of my life is a fashion in my eyes.
Amazing. I remember the emo days because back in high school, you always reminded me, and still when I think back to high school, I think Peyton Sawyer from One Tree Hill, because you always reminded me of, because she was like this, she had like this edgy, beautiful, but really cool kind of style. And that was the vibe you gave off in high school. It was like this, like delicate and edgy, but like also kind of like she'll cut you.
Well, do you remember
badass.
You watch Gossip Girl? Either of you?
I didn't. No.
Well, so at the same time I was starting my emo phase, Taylor Momsen on Gossip Girl was also
starting hers.
Yeah. And it was like we were twins, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I loved her anyway. And then it was like we were both going through the same transition of like outfits, and I was like, oh, like we just match. And I would look up pictures of her and like on the show, and then try and recreate the outfit.
Amazing.
It was a whole thing, and the whole emo thing started. Do you remember ER Day in like during Spirit Week?
I should, but I don't.
Well, we did ER Day, so you had to dress up as something that ended in ER.
Okay.
So I dressed up as a drummer, And I wore my boyfriend at the time's Blink-182 like t-shirt with like a long sleeve underneath, and I teased my hair really big, and like and then it was just like that was my style then. It was like the other day it was like, well, I guess now you're an emo kid.
This is my persona.
Yeah, and then I went from working at Foot Locker to working at West 49.
Oh my, I forgot about West 49. Oh my God, we are having like a reunion right now. Like I'm going back. Megan. Okay, so forever you basically have like just always been in love with clothing and fashion. Just had a knack for it.
It's just always in my life. That's just how I think my entire life it is just always revolved around it. That's it.
But I've always like looked at you and like the outfits that you put together. I'm just like, I don't understand where it comes from, but like I could never ever do it. I'm just like, t-shirt, jeans, let's do this.
Oh, for me, I did the sniff test every morning. I'm like, does this smell clean? Like, is it in the clean pile or the dirty pile? Like I can't remember because I get mixed up.
I go through like probably 5 outfits in the morning because for me, I'm like, if I don't feel great in what I'm wearing, like I am crooked as sin, not even fit to look at. And it could be something I look great in, but I'm like, this isn't what I wanted to wear today.
That is really important though, because I think me and Crystal have had this conversation before about like, it's not even about like what size you wear. It's about wearing a size that fits so that you can feel good. It's the feeling that your clothes give you, you know?
Yeah, I've got, I mean, we've all put on some COVID weight. Let's be real.
The quarantine 15.
Right.
Like I've gone from wearing a lot of like smalls and now I'm like, I feel more comfortable in a medium. Like I just don't want to like, I mean, in reality, if you wear something that's too small for you, you end up looking bigger than you are.
Always. Yeah.
I'm after putting on my pants, some of the pants that are in that drawer being like, it'll be fine. I put them on and I'm like, oh, I can't put this on today. Like it's just not worth it. Like I want to be comfortable. That is the one hugest thing. I never buy clothes that are uncomfortable. And I never even for the store, I don't bring in clothes that are uncomfortable or that I think would be uncomfortable. I'm like, what are you going to want to sit down for supper? Are you going to want to sit in this at work all day? Like I don't do uncomfortable fashion. I'm like, I want to be as comfy as possible, but I still want to look good and fashionable.
Yeah, but it always looks so good. Like always looks so cozy and always looks so fashionable. And I'm just like, man, I just need her to dress me for like ever.
And it's so funny because I feel like I have so many different sides of me. Like some days I'm like this boho, like let me tassel you up. And then like let me get my little glasses on and like, you know, my hair slicked back in a, you know, big oversized sweater with, you know, dad sneakers. Like I'm every type of style and it all depends on what I'm feeling that day. So
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of people I feel get really stuck in like a box of what they're supposed to be. And I'm just like, nah, whatever I'm feeling. Like,
you know what's really cool about that? It gives you the freedom to express who you are, like you say, without worrying about other people's judgments. Because if you're always wearing something that makes you feel happy, regardless of other people's like ideas of what you should be wearing and what's normal and what's not normal, then you can wear whatever you want and feel extravagant and nobody's going to give you a second thought or a second look and be like, oh my God, isn't that a little bit weird? Or isn't, you know, that's stupid or whatever.
It's confidence that goes with that too, though. Like I went out to Walmart, Staples and Sobeys just then in a full leopard coat with my little, like, you know, my little hat and like my, you know, my Gucci bag that's somewhere behind there. I looked insane. Like I was like ready for Fashion Week. And I was like, I don't really care. I know I'm only running errands, but I feel great. Like I feel like I'm ready to go walk the streets in New York. Like that's where my head goes. And I'm like, I also don't care. Like people are like, you're in Newfoundland. I'm like, what's your point? I have been saying this, I'd say since I've been like 19, like 18 or 19, when, you know, even when I thought like being emo was super fashionable. I just want to make Newfoundland slightly more fashionable one day at a time, because I think something that happens here is that I think people are too nervous.
People are afraid to dress differently because of the way it's going to be, like other people are going to think about them. And like
people think way too much about what other people think in this province. It's crazy, right? Like, and it's just like, you got one life.
But like, I don't want to be judged by, like, I don't care. I'm gonna go wear whatever I want. I'm not gonna look at you who's like wearing something I wouldn't wear, I wouldn't look at me like, oh yeah,
Nike
like
Max. What's the dad shoe? Is it the Nike Max? That big? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Something, but yeah, I know the Nike Max that you're talking about though.
Right? Like you can wear that with your jeans. I'm not saying anything about it. Like let me wear my frilly top and my leopard print.
But like
Exactly.
I feel like it's like so you just kind of have to look past that. And like I said, I guess my favorite part of fashion, like getting inspiration, was going on trips. One day get there again, but it was like going to when I like went to New York and like going to Montreal and stuff, and even in Halifax, like just seeing how people, I guess, like present themselves, it is with so much more confidence. And I feel like a lot of people here, it's a judgment thing, and they're just so afraid that like, you know, this old man might look at them and be like, oh, like, what do you got on? Or look at you with 10 hands. Where I don't look at anybody else. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna wear this. I don't even think about what I'm wearing, really. Like, I'm doing what I'm doing. But you just, it's the confidence that goes with it. And for me, clothes makes me confident.
Right.
So, like, if I were to go out and, you know, like feeling slobbish almost, like, or not put together, or I would feel like people were looking at me.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, oh God, people are judging me. Like I'd be more worried about that. Not that I would actually feel that way, but it's like, I feel like for clothes, for me, it just enhances my confidence. That's always been a huge part of my life, I guess.
Yeah. And I feel like you look like when you have that confidence that goes with it, then there's nothing strange about it because you own it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you walk into a room and you own that room, nobody's judging you. And if they are, it's because they want to be you. Like there's a difference. You know?
I have a very big personality in itself. So, and my clothes also generally have big personalities. So I'm just this big, like
you're both very loud from time to time, right?
Loud. Like people know when I'm in a room. So. But again, it's that has, at the same time though, I haven't always been like that. It's definitely come in the last, you know, probably eight years or so that I have felt that way, that, you know, I feel more confident in, again, even in what I'm wearing, or, you know, what I'm bringing to the table or whatever. But clothes has definitely helped me, which sounds so insane, but like clothes has definitely helped me get there. Like I feel like coming out of my emo stage into like my more, I guess, like into more like what my style is now, like that progression, when that definitely helped me. And funny enough, it was when I moved to PEI, of all places, like one of the least fashionable places, probably next to Newfoundland,
a smaller province.
Yeah, like they're even more behind. Like they have the mall that's in their entire province is, you know, the one that would be in Gander here. Like it's a very small, like they don't have a lot of options, but they also have the opportunity to be able to, you know, jump on the bridge and go to Moncton, and they have a lot more options there. But I found meeting all these new people who didn't know who I was like, I can finally wear what I want and be who I want or whatever like that, without, you know, people around here, you know, again, throwing judgment on you. But I mean, I was 20. You don't have a lot of confidence at 20 a lot of the time, but like that helped me, that like I came home, I was so excited to come home for Christmas because I was like, I'm going to look great. I'm gonna put on my different that I bought at, you know, H&M or whatever, it's like boutique that was next door to the store I worked at. And like, I mean, I worked at it was called, do you remember? There was one here, it was called Island Beach Company. So it's all like, there it was all PEI souvenir stuff. So just needed a job. But I ended up, funny enough, that's how I met my really good friend Renee, like my best friend Renee, and that's how I met Justin. So it's like this, you know, again,
it happened. Yep.
It happened for a reason. I worked at the souvenir place and whatever. But like I said, I feel like I got to meet so many other people who were there who were a lot more into fashion than like my friends necessarily who were here. So it kind of helped me along a little bit. So I feel like, just like I said, just being outside your comfort zone alone kind of lets you discover who you are. And I got to discover a different kind of side of fashion too, just being in like just another province and being influenced by different people.
Absolutely. That is awesome. I don't know if I realized that you lived away for a bit. This was before Facebook, wasn't it? Or like at the beginning of Facebook?
Beginning of Facebook. I think Facebook was around for like 3 years at this point.
We're dating ourselves, but whatever. Facebook is not as old as people think it is, okay? has not been around that long.
All of my photos from when I was in PEI are on there. But yeah, I think Facebook might have been around for like 2 or 3 years. I think at that point, that like we were all using it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's we sound like we're 80.
We feel like it sometimes. Like my
I'm like
back hurts
almost
most
halfway.
mornings. You are, Crystal. I didn't want to say it, but
It's true.
so Meg, where did the inspiration come to start the store? Like when did you, because I can remember Don't Forget to Sparkle.
Yes.
So that was your blog, your fashion blog, and you were working at Aldo at the time?
I was.
Okay.
So I always wanted, like in my head, it was always like, I want to own my own store one day. Like I was always very inspired by by local business owners around here that like, you know, going into their stores and it's just like, you know, I'm like, and like seeing like Allie at Opal and Onyx. I used to love watching her. I'm like, oh my God, you're going away to do buying or you know, your shop is beautiful. Like I love everything she brought in. Like it was just like, she definitely inspired me to, you know, kind of have that direction because I was so interested in what she was doing. But then like I was actually doing business management, focusing in human resources at Kona. And because I thought it would, you know, well, why not? It's going to pay the bills, like whatever.
I'm going to get a job. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did 3 years of that. And you do a full business plan in that course. Oh my goodness, in that program.
Oh, technical difficulties.
Business one day. But I mean,
Meg, I'm going to stop you for a sec.
Oh.
Just start back over. You froze up. It was really funny.
No.
I'll send you the video. We'll edit that part out, but just start over. So we froze up right after you said the
Program,
the Kona program. You learned the business development in the program.
Hold on now. Entrepreneurship. So you do a full program. Do a full program. Okay. Hold on. Where were we? What were we saying?
I know. See, I like took you right out of it.
You said that you were doing your program.
Yeah, you're doing a full business plan, in your program. Yeah. So I did, like, we all did do like different sections. So like I did HR. So, you know, me and my friend, we did the HR section of it, but like we got to see what all the other parts of it were. I just didn't have to physically do any of the work. But that was super insightful because I was like, I'm so interested in this. Like, this is really, really cool, really different. Like kind of from what we were doing and just doing HR. Like, I mean, after doing my work term for HR, I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I'd rather die. Like,
wow.
I can't sit at a desk. It was only 6 weeks, and it was that 6 weeks was enough for me to be like, I was literally Googling while I was at my job. It was like fashion management, like all these like different programs that I'm like, I can't do this. Like, this isn't for me. But that program really helped me in opening my own business because for the HR side of it, there's a lot of legal stuff that people don't realize when they're opening up a business that, you know, when it comes to your employees and like we did a full law section in the program. So it's like you learn a lot in you know, just even like the 3 years that I was doing that program, and that definitely helped me I guess progress into wanting to open my own business. I felt like I was equipped to do it, but like I was doing that, and then I was also doing my fashion blog at the same time, and I was doing that for a couple of years. It was called Don't Forget to Sparkle, and I was doing blogs every week. It was, you know, my outlet while I was in school to be like, I need fashion, I can't do human resources every day. So, you know, it was a kind of cool, like, you know, progression. I guess it was just something I wanted to kind of do for myself. And then I was working at Aldo, and Aldo honestly was a really great stepping stone for me because I got to do I held every single position you could at the Aldo store here. So I'm not like every single one. So learning that side of business also is super interesting because, you know, you get to see what part-timers do, stock people, you're as a manager, assistant manager, a floor lead, whatever. Like I did all of those things. So like I have very much an appreciation for that going into business, because some people think that they can just start at the top and, you know, they don't need grunt work. I know the grunt work of every single position that can go into a retail store. And I feel like that really helped me in, you know, again, wanting to open up a store. Cause I'm like, I feel really well-rounded. Like I've done so many different positions. And I was at Aldo for 7 years. And at that point, I actually got offered a job to work at their head office. And I thought that was what I wanted. I was in Montreal and they called me and they're like, hey, you're in Montreal. Can you come do an interview? And I was like, sure. Like, so I literally took an Uber, went to the head office and did an interview. And in the interview, I was like, this is something I've been working towards for such a long time, but like, I don't want this. This isn't what I want for my life. I don't want to move to Montreal. I don't want to, they were like, you have to learn French and, you know, like after work, you have to do all these French classes because you don't know French. And I'm like, oh my God, like it was all very overwhelming. And it was just like one of these things that was like, I don't think this is what I want anymore. So that was in October. And the beginning of December, I got to a point, it was right after Black Friday. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I've done everything I could working in the mall. I need to do something for myself. And it was like Black Friday pushed me. Like working, it was like a 17-hour day. It was like the dumbest thing in the world. And I was like, I cannot keep doing this for the rest of my life. I want something better. And I always wanted to open up my own business. And I went to my mom and I was like, or my mom and my dad, I was like I was 26. I was like, I have nothing to lose at this point. Like I'm living home. Like I don't have, you know, debt. I don't have anything. So this is the best time for me to do it. I don't have kids. I don't have anything keeping me back. So why not? So that January, I quit Aldo. I was done Aldo beginning of January and I started my business plan. And then I worked really hard, just literally doing that and trying to find my brands and everything. And then I was also working part-time at Kathy Evans, the bridal studio. And I worked there like twice a week just to have some money. And I started the store then, like I said, March 21st, 2017. And I did everything out of my sister's basement.
Amazing.
Asked Jill, I went to her and I was like, so can I by chance use one of your spare bedrooms and turn it into my office? And she was like, sure, why not? Like,
yeah,
there's 2 spare bedrooms downstairs. Go ahead. So, she had 3 spare bedrooms at this point. So I redid the room. Me and Brad painted it and I made him put up wallpaper. Brad was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, I just want it to be pretty. Like,
I need to feel good if I'm going to be working here.
Right.
Yeah.
So we literally like wallpapered it, brought in a bunch of my stuff. Then we put it in a little rack on my desk, and I started the shop just as an online business, and it was strictly online for a couple of months, and that was enough for me to be like, I did pop-ups everywhere, and you know, they were really successful, and it was like, I was like, man, if I can do this in a pop-up. Like, what if I actually had a physical store like that people can try it on and everything like that? And it was, you know, very scary to kind of take that leap, but it definitely paid off for me. My mom, I remember when I asked her, I was like, so how would you feel if like I actually did a brick and mortar or Ethereal? And she was like, I don't know, Megan. And that was enough though for me to be like, well, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Prove you wrong.
That was actually going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Was there people, like, did you have people tell you that you couldn't do it? Like, I know your mom probably didn't say you can't do it. She was probably like, now really consider your future, because all of our parents just want to make sure that we're making the best, most secure choices so that we will be taken care of, right? So like, aside from that beautiful, loving, caring concern, was there anybody who told you that, like, you know, you couldn't do it, you're making a mistake, you're not going to make it, it's a bad idea? Have you thought it through?
Mom was pretty much the only one who was nervous, because like I only really went to dad, and I went to dad first actually. And I was like I'm gonna need money.
That's what every parent cringes at, right? No.
It's like, I didn't want to go to the bank. Like I already had a small, a very small visa that I was running everything through. And I was like, this isn't going to be enough. And I know it's not going to be enough, but I also don't want to go to the bank and put myself, into all this debt with all this interest, if this doesn't work. But I knew my dad would, like, my dad, he will literally do anything for me and Jill. Like, he'll do anything for his girls. And like, I was just like, and also why, and I guess like a reason I went to him, like during when I was in school, we did an entrepreneurial study on a local entrepreneur. I picked Chris Evans, who owns Fogtown. And that was one of the things that he told me was, I was like, so like, did you have to go to the bank? I had asked him all these questions, and he was like, I literally started this with a chair that I bought from a guy who was selling it because he was closing down his shop, and we borrowed money from our family, and it was a very small amount of money to start. And we built everything from there. And that was when he was at 2 chairs on the side shop. And now he has, an infinite amount of chairs down there now, and a side shop. So like, I didn't want to spend outside of my means, because I feel like that's a big thing for people when they own a business or they start a business, that they think they have to invest, $100,000 and, everything has to be perfect, where that's not what I wanted to do. I was like, okay, Dad, can I have, I think we might've started it on, I think he gave me $7,000. I think it was 6 or 7. So like, not a lot. Not
like $1 million. He wasn't like,
No.
here's $1 million.
Yeah,
do what
like,
you can.
it was literally like a couple of $1,000s. That was to get inventory, buy, the like everything to go in the shop, and like it was very scant. Like, there wasn't a lot in there. And like, luckily my dad made all my racks, and
that's unreal.
Yeah, so because he's a welder, so he made all my racking, and like out of literally scrap metal. And then we got my uncle, who's a carpenter. He made my cash desk and like the top, oh my goodness, the tops of my racks and stuff like that, and like any bit of woodworking kind of thing that needed to be done. So I didn't have to. I was like, I do not want to have to go to the city and get more permits or anything like that. Everything was cosmetic. I was like, that's why the fitting room was curtains, and I didn't want to have to get all these permits to put up walls and put in lighting and all this kind of stuff. I was like, I will work with what I have, and that's great for me. And it was it, like I said, for me, I think it has definitely paid off that I didn't go to the bank, and then I went to the bank of Dad, but I didn't go to the actual bank, just because it luckily my dad could help me. Like, I know a lot of people aren't that lucky, but I mean, I just didn't want to have to go put myself into all this debt, and maybe it didn't pan out. Like,
you made a choice based on like your dream. And I'm sure if Dad had said no, you still would have found a way. So, you know what I mean? It's not that like, oh, not everybody's so lucky. Like, no, not everybody is so lucky, but it doesn't mean that you would have stopped there. You know,
you would have made it work.
I would have made it.
It was happening.
It was just like, that was my first option, and it went well. So it was great.
So stop there.
But like, luckily, like, I feel like I kind of thrive off people telling me I can't accomplish something. Like, part of me, like, when I remember when I worked in the mall, I had people who I went to school with, they'd come in and be like, oh, you're still working here, are you? Like, I'm actually, and it's so funny because at this point, even when I was working in the mall, we were actually getting paid the same amount. I knew what they were making. I knew what I was making. And I'm like, I actually enjoy what I'm doing. I would never want to do what you're doing. But not hearing those types of things from people that, like, I guess, like, they didn't think I'd amount to anything. I had ex-boyfriends' moms. I know they did not believe in me. And I know that they, you know what I mean? Like, that it was just like, they expected nothing out of me. And now I'm like, that was a fuel for me to be like, no, I'm going to make this happen. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. So, like, I've got goals. You just need to either like support me or get the fuck out of my way. Like, Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the funny thing
I love
is that like what you're saying to us at this point, like Melissa and I are both reading the same book. So we're listening to the same book.
I just finished it, just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
But
me
go
too.
ahead.
So we just finished this book, okay? And like literally what he says in this book is basically what you just outlined was your entire plan. Like you were like you just said, I mean, you worked in these stores in the mall. You worked every single job, never thinking that you were better than any of them in Aldo. So you learned everything from the ground up from the inside, right? Which all of that information that you gathered from doing those jobs created this point where you were just like, okay, I have all of the knowledge that I need in order to make this work. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Mhm. And you know
Right.
what?
And you just hopped in.
He says,
A lot of this the generation I feel now, this sounds terrible of me, but like a lot of the people in this generation that's coming up, they just think that they can start at the top and
mhm.
Yeah.
they're gonna be successful and they're gonna make lots of money when they're 21 or 23. And I'm like, no.
It doesn't work that way.
Like, I mean, maybe, but like, you
Not
got to
very
put the
often.
effort in there. Like,
Yeah.
It's a very rare occurrence. Like you
Yeah.
still got to kind of like, not like pay your dues, but like you still have to, you have to, like, if you want to be successful, you do need to be well-rounded in things and be able to see things from different people's perspectives. If you want to, like, for me, if I want to own a business, I want to know every aspect of that business.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm finding it hard to pass things off to people now because
Yeah.
I'm like the way I do it.
Yeah. That's a struggle. That becomes a struggle when you get to the point where you're like, okay, I need help. I need other people to do the things that I no longer have time to do because I have to take care of these things. But then like letting
Outsourcing
it
is
go,
relinquishing control.
it is really hard. Like, I feel like all three of us have that same personality type where we're like, okay, this is how I do it. And like, you don't want to, like, you want to be like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm also going to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Instead of letting someone else come in and take over because it's your baby.
I would
Right?
much
Like,
rather almost work myself to the ground sometimes. Like that was the point I was getting, like when we were closed the first lockdown. I did like as soon as I came back, I was like, I have to hire people. Like I can't keep doing this. I'm burning. I have never worked so hard in my life than I did through March through June. Like
wow.
every day, like I was every single day, like morning to night, doing every single aspect. Like where now is I'm like, I had to pass some stuff off because I can't do it. Like you can't do it to yourself. Burnout is a very real thing.
Leverage
It
is
is.
key. Like, if you want to be successful, leverage is definitely key. You need to hire people to do the jobs that you can't do because you're growing the business or you're doing other jobs, like
Money to make money.
exactly.
That's it. It's I can't do it all myself as much as I don't want to pay out, that much money.
Salaries.
I have to pay the government and whatever. But and it saves. I've said this to Justin so many times. I'm like, I'd much rather this year I could have given myself a raise or I could hire people. And I would much rather have a better work-life balance and also contribute to the economy and have jobs like, circulating than to pay myself a little bit more. It's not worth my mental health. And I also, as again, owning a business, that's part of what I want to strive to do is to create jobs. Like it's a hard thing in Newfoundland right now to get a job. So I want to try and create that. So it was like, it was like one or the other. Do you give yourself a raise? Do you hire someone? Hiring someone was a much better option. I'm really, really glad I did it. So I have 3 girls who work for me now, which is
awesome.
It's amazing.
so
And you know what? Making that decision to hire somebody will give you the raise because you're making yourself more successful. Your business is going to grow and you're going to make more money. Like it goes hand in hand.
That's what I'm trying. I'm really trying to do is just focus more on myself though at the same time though, and also be able to pass things off to people. Is like, it's owning a business is a lot of work. So like, I don't like, I literally was answering an email right before I pressed Zoom, go to the Zoom meeting. Like I was literally like, okay, see, I'll check that for you tomorrow. Okay. Like, I'm like, all right. And that you are on
There's no off.
7, but I mean, it is nice to be able to not have to worry about every single little thing anymore and being able to pass it off to other people. And it's, I'm also at this point in my life that I'm thinking about, me and Justin, eventually having children and stuff like that. And as a business owner, you don't get mat leave. So it's, something that I know I'm going to struggle with, that, and I have to be able to start passing things off to people and having that trust in other people. And that's what I've been struggling with. And I'm like, again, passing stuff off that I'm like, okay, if I'm not there, everything will still be fine.
Yeah.
And just finding those trustworthy people, and the girls I have right now, I feel very confident in. And
Good.
it does take a really big weight off of my chest, and like being like, okay, I can trust them to do all of these things. And eventually, again, I'll be able to take some time off when the day does come that I'm going to have kids or whatever it is. Or even just go on vacation.
Yeah, that's true though.
Where are the plane seats to? Like, come on.
Yeah, maybe next year, but that's been a really big part of the growth aspect of it, is trying to give other people the things that I guess I don't have time for. But one huge thing I remember when I was building my business plan, I went to the Y, and the previous owner of Model Citizens, she told me the best advice she ever gave me was pay people to do things that you dislike the most.
Yes.
Why I don't do my accounting.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the things that take up the most of my time. I give those things to the girls to do, because I physically don't have time to do that when there is something more important that is on my plate. So these are the things I don't necessarily love to do. So here you go, steam all the clothes, because I hate it.
Right.
So that was a huge thing. That was, as soon as I literally got the shop incorporated, I got an accountant, because I don't like accounting, and it stresses me out, and it's very time consuming, and I would much rather give them money than to give myself that extra job and that extra stress.
Yeah. And besides that, then for sure, you just gave it to somebody who's an expert in their field.
Yeah.
Let them do what they do.
I barely passed accounting in business school, so I to this day do not know how I got over a 50. So I can't imagine the mess that would be in. So it's just here you go, get it to a fresh.
If it's something that you don't like doing, you're going to avoid doing it, which means you're going to put it off, and then you're going to be scurrying for receipts come tax time, and what was that under, and where did we get this to, and then you're fucked.
People fall behind on their taxes is because they're like, I'm gonna do it myself, and you're like,
they
no,
put it off. Yeah.
Pay someone that a couple of $100 a month and just get it done right, and you'll have lifted it off your
for the money that it costs and the job that you get. If you think about what an accountant does for you, they're probably the most affordable thing that you could ever get for a business. If you really think about what they do for your business and how much trouble they keep you out of by doing the good job and knowing what they're at, they're saving you money.
Literally, it was incorporated accountant.
100%.
Yeah.
So Meg, did you always, I know you touched on it a little bit, especially when somebody doesn't believe in you, but did you always know that you were going to be successful? How, I know it was scary. How did you feel getting started?
I didn't really feel, I guess I believed in myself enough that I was like, you can do this. It is going to be hard, but you can do this. But my first spring I had at the shop, so that would have been 2018, was my worst spring I've ever had. And I felt like a failure. I literally was like, no one's coming in. What? I didn't do this right. It was just I just brought in the wrong things for Newfoundland. And at the time I was doing my buying in Montreal, and I was really heavily influenced by the buyers, by the reps that were there, because they don't understand Newfoundland. They're like, we have they have spring in Montreal. We don't.
Yeah, we don't.
We I had to kind of shift. I ended up buying all these really nice spring dresses and tank tops and shorts and skirts and all this stuff that it was that's all I had. And I was like, no one's going anywhere. Like
Mhm.
I was hoping to get the customer who was going down south, because that's who I would end up getting when I worked at Aldo. Like I was
Right.
like, I'll get that customer, and I didn't. So I felt very unsuccessful in those moments. And wholeheartedly, I've said this to Justin so many times, if I did not have Justin at that moment, that he was the most supportive person, who was like, you can do this, don't worry about it, we'll get through it, you'll be fine, like, you know, it's gonna get warmer, people will come in. Like he was so supportive. And like, honestly, I don't like I don't need no man. I've said that to him many times. I don't need no man to help me in my business, but he has been a very, very much my cheerleader and my support system. That, you know, if I am having a bad day, or, you know, maybe I didn't do well at the shop that day or whatever, he's the first person who's super positive about it. And like, again, I don't know what I would do without him, but like, that was the first time I didn't feel successful, because I had come off of, like, I opened in September, so everyone was coming in for like back to school, and then you run right into Christmas, and then you run into Newfoundland spring and,
Right.
and like also
Sprinter.
town on
Yeah.
top of that. Like there's, you know, my biggest struggle with having a business downtown is snow clearing.
Parking.
So
Yeah.
luckily the shop, I find, always has parking out front, but if they don't plow the parking spots, there's nowhere to park
Yeah.
for God knows how long. So that was my biggest struggle. It was like, we had, like, luckily we didn't have a lot of snow that year, but any snow we did have, it was just like such a struggle of getting it done. So it was like, that was like, so that spring, that was my hardest spring, but I also learned the most that spring about my business and my customer to help me better in the next year. So every year, obviously, you learn more and more, but like that was a very much a low point, but it was like a low point I almost had to hit
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help me
But
understand.
you took it and you said, okay, this is not going to be the end all be all for me. I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to make it better the next time. Like, that's the
Well,
thing.
like-
That's the true show of like an entrepreneur.
A successful person. Like every
Yeah.
time you fail, it's not actually a failure. Like every failure is an opportunity to learn. So while you're sat there being like, oh my God, I'm a failure, I'm not going to do well, and I'm not selling as much, you were, like you said, you learned more in that spring, probably than the whole 4 years. Like that was where you were really like, oh shit, okay, how can I make this better? So like it felt like a failure, but it was just a lesson. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. I am very gung-ho on making sure that this business, especially now during COVID, I was like, I didn't want to be a victim of COVID this year, but like
Mhm.
I've always been very determined that I'm like, I want to support myself. I want this to work. This is going to work. I don't care what it takes. I will make this work. And
Mhm.
I feel like you hear so many businesses that are unsuccessful and stuff like that, that it's like, it can fuck with you sometimes.
Oh
You're like,
yeah.
Yeah.
they're not doing well, but it's like, but did they have the same determination? Like
Mhm.
maybe they're like, you know what, not really into it anymore, see you later. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whereas I'm like, this has to happen, I don't care. Like that was like, as soon as, like, said last year, sorry, when everything closed, I was like, all right, we're doing home delivery, we're doing curbside pickup, we're like,
Yes.
I don't care what it is, I'm doing it because I'm still doing it because I
Mhm.
want to make sure I keep my customer, and I want to keep them happy, and I want to be able to provide the best customer service to them because it's my livelihood. Like,
Yeah.
otherwise I can't have a house, I can't have a dog, I can't, have a car. Like this is how I have to survive, kind of thing. And I am not going back to the mall.
Right.
So you're not going to be opening any shops in the mall anytime soon, is what you're trying to say.
No.
Unless you're not running them.
I'm not doing it. That alone is determination for me. And I'm like, I can't go back. I can't work for corporations. I can't work for other people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm so independent that way, that I'm like, I know what's best and don't tell me different. And that was the biggest thing at Aldo, is you get the big wigs who came down and your DM, and they're like, no, you need to be doing this, this, and this. And I'm like, you don't live here. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
you what the customer needs here. We also everyone just got laid off who lived in Alberta. No, our numbers aren't great. And they're like, that's not an excuse. And I'm like, well, I think it's a pretty damn good one, because I know 3 people alone who have lost their jobs and have a house and have a car that they need to pay for. No, they're not coming in and buying a pair of $200 boots right now.
Yeah.
So like, it's the economy we're in. And that's the kind of the thought process that, like, it's great that, you know, I'm here, I get to see it, I know what's happening. So like, as a business owner, I'm like, okay, well, what do people need right now? What do they want from me? What price point can they really shop at? Like, you know, it's kind of that type of thing. And I don't like listening to people, especially white old Frenchmen who think that they know everything better than me. And I'm like, absolutely not. So it was, they're a whole other can of worms, but like, that's enough determination for me that I'm like, I cannot go back to that. Like, I feel like I've progressed so much and I know so much now that it's like, I can't go back.
Yeah.
But I mean, the mall was treated me very well. Mm-hmm. Do not get me wrong. I commend anybody who works in the mall, because the shit and abuse you have to put up with from people. Because like, a mall customer and a downtown customer are also 2 very different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I commend anyone who works in the mall right now, because honestly, and I've said this so many times, I was more stressed out working in the mall than owning my own business.
Wow.
I believe that.
Like,
100%.
I feel like it shouldn't be that way. I feel like you're working for a business, and you know, you should feel valued, and you should feel like, you know, you shouldn't be stressed out every day, or, you know what I mean? Like, you're working in the mall, like, it's not supposed to be high stress, you know, environment. And it was. So it was like, I feel like I stressed out way more because of the customer and the expectations and all that kind of stuff from, I guess, from other people, even, that like, that alone I did not bring to my current business, kind of thing. And also in knowing when people are like, so is there anyone else I can talk to? It's like, no.
Yeah.
Me, I make the final call. You don't like it, that's it. I don't know what to tell you. There's not someone else higher than me who's like, no, that's fine, do it. Like,
yeah.
And I do that with the girls. I tell them what it is, and very, very, very seldomly have I gone over their heads, because I know how it feels. And I'm like, I don't like it when people, you know, belittle what I'm told to do, and you're just going to step in and just make them happy for the sake of it. And which is something I don't believe in. Don't take advantage of me. Like, not Walmart. I'm a small business.
Yeah.
So it's you know, I'm very firm on my return policy and my, you know, my exchange policy, damages, everything. Like, I'm very firm with the girls, and they're very firm with my customers. And that's kind of how it is, because I would never want to be known as someone that's like, oh, you can just wear that and bring it back and they'll never know, and they'll just take it back, or they'll, you know what I mean? Like, I would never want to be known as that, like Walmart, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have to have your own set of standards. And I mean, who else is going to set them if you don't?
Oh, well, that's the thing. Like, I have a very high standards for myself and for my employees. So I'm like I said, I would never make them feel like they're making the wrong decision or anything like that. Like, it's not very often I would have to step in and be like, no, that's not what you do. Like, they're fantastic. So it's, again, that was, again, being that person who had to deal with all that bullshit. Like, I empathize with when stuff like that happens, that I would never do that to them.
I love that. I love that you have worked every single position to understand your paper, because that's quality. That makes it so that you understand everything that everybody goes through. So like, you're practicing what you preach, you know what I mean? Like, you're making up rules.
I work for big corporations like Aldo and, you know, and Foot Locker and West 49. And then I also worked for small businesses like Kathy Evans. I worked at Ballistic. I also like MB and Studio. They're both small businesses. Like, they're an Atlantic-owned Atlantic-owned business. And I worked for them as well. And you know, MB and Studio, they're like a bigger small business, whereas like, you know, Kathy Evans and Ballistic were smaller, like much smaller businesses. And it's getting to see all the different types of business also was super insightful, and like having an appreciation for working for both types of businesses as well was like I'm really glad I feel like I was very well rounded. That like, I mean, at one point I was working at David's Tea, Aldo, and MV,
Oh my God.
and going to school. Like
You just needed more things to do. You weren't busy, right? You're like, I'm
Right.
bored.
like I look back on that and I'm like, when did I have time? And I had a boyfriend and I had friends
what?
in town. Like
You make
Right.
time though. It's not about like, when did I have time? Because there's so many times like I've gotten it, Crystal's gotten it, you've gotten it, where people are like, how do you do all this? How do you have the time? And you're like, when you fucking want to do something, you figure it
You
out.
do
Like
it.
you make the
Yep.
time and you get shit done.
Yeah.
So you just
Yep.
do it. You step up, you know what you can do when you need to do it.
yeah.
Yep.
That's
That's it.
and that's a huge, I guess, like I said, a huge part of like learning your boundaries, even yourself, to be like, also don't push yourself to the point that you're like, I need to be going to the gym every day, but I
Yeah.
have all things. Like you will make time for the things, like I said, that are important. And
You prioritize.
yeah. So yeah.
So question.
Sleep's overrated anyway.
Exactly. Who sleeps? What was it? What show was it? Was it Seinfeld where Kramer was trying to sleep? Oh, I'm definitely gonna get it wrong.
Oh my
I'm gonna
God.
fuck this up. He was trying to sleep like every 4 hours for 20 minutes instead of like a full night so he could get more things done. It was
I
something
think
like that.
so. Yeah. That
Yeah,
sounds like a
so-
Kramer thing to do.
Yeah, instead of
I
sleeping
tried-
like 8 hours, every 4 hours he would sleep like 20 minutes or something like that. And then he'd like wake up and be like, okay, what are we gonna do now? Like I might be getting it wrong.
I'm after doing that if a sale ends also at like 12 o'clock and I'm like, I'm so tired, it's 9:30. Like
Yeah.
an alarm. I'm like, okay, you'll do a little bit of work right before you have to, take everything down for the sale and and then go back to bed. Like
Yeah, I think I would do that too. I would do it that way
Yep.
for sure. Yeah. So do you have advice for anybody else who might be looking at starting a business or chasing their dreams? Like what advice would you give somebody?
oh, fucking go for it. Like there's never a good time, honestly. Like I feel like it's almost like having children. People are like, there's never a good time. It's just, you got to do it. Like
It's just life.
it is.
You
And
figure it out after.
like, I feel like I would have regretted not trying more than if I tried and it didn't succeed.
Yeah.
I would be, I think, forever in my head being like, but what if I did just go for it then? Like, what would like, why didn't I just try? Why didn't I, like, I feel like I would have had so many more what ifs. Whereas I feel like I went on the right path, but again, I keep learning from it. But like, you have to be very determined if you want to open up your own business. You have to know that there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, and there's also a lot of hurdles that you have to overcome, and there's also a lot of things that you have to find out for yourself, because it's very annoying, because the way that I guess I have found out everything is like, you just constantly have to do research. Like Newfoundland doesn't have a set guidelines to be like, if you're going to start a business, this is what you need. No, you're like, okay, I need to do this. And then someone else that from this place is like, oh, well, you also need this. And you're like, what? Like, okay, what do I need from this person? Okay, this. And then you're just, it's a constant, like you're just constantly learning. Like, I mean, I've been open for 4 years and there's still things that I'm like, oh, frig, was I supposed to do that? Was I supposed to do that? Oh, okay, whoops. Like, whatever, you live, you learn. But it's like, there's no set guidelines. So there is a lot of research involved in what you're doing. Like even for the first, I think it was like 2 years, I was operating under my own name. I wasn't operating under Etheral Boutique, because when I started the business number was under my name. It wasn't
Right.
It wasn't under the store. So we had to, I had to get my accountant, we had to switch everything over to a whole new business number. And then that's a whole other entity in itself. And I didn't know until my accountant had asked me, I can't remember what it was, how it came up. And I was like, no, it's under Ethereal Boutiquing. She's like, no, it's not. I was like, oh, well, we should probably change that. Like,
Yeah.
don't want it to be on my name. Like then that was a big thing. I incorporated that's also a huge thing for me that I wanted, was I incorporated my business right away.
Yeah. Good
I
plan.
want Ethereal to be a completely separate entity than me, because it just gets so much more tangly with taxes. But also I wanted to be an employee of my business, not the sole proprietor. Like I am a sole proprietor in a way, but like I just wanted them to
You're
be
not set up that way legally.
Yes, I wanted to be two separate things, that I work for my business kind of thing. So that was the very first thing I did, was I incorporated, and also that gives you protection of your name and everything like that too, which is, you know, a big plus. And, you know, even taxes and government wise, you know, there's a big, you know, bonus to it as well. So it's this the dry shit, but like
Everybody here taking notes. Are you listening, people? You're starting a business. Get your pen and paper and write down some fucking notes.
But like,
call
and an
Megan, go
accountant.
shopping at her store and just pick her brain when she's there.
But like, like that. Again, just like being an entrepreneur, you have to realize you are going to come across so many different hurdles along the way, and you just got to tackle it, like, and just be like, all right, it's another one gonna come up, and something else is gonna come up soon. Like,
and it always will. It always will. If you have that same focus and mindset that, okay, I need to succeed no matter what, I'm going to get this done. Then when the hurdle comes up, you jump it and you keep going. Right.
Yeah. So it's like, I think a lot of people just get really deterred either by other people or by even like their own demons in their head being like, you can't do this. Like, I just think, just try it, go for it. If it doesn't work out, who cares? Learn from it, do something, you know, do something else. Like I said, I would much rather try and know it wasn't successful than not try. So like it's a really big jump and it's really scary, but if you don't do something different, nothing changes. So you have to constantly, you know, do something a bit different, or else you're just gonna be having the same life.
Stay the same.
Yeah, like nothing changes.
Well, like I know, I really, really, really doubt that there was very many people on their deathbeds who said, I'm really glad I didn't take any risks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, who sits on their deathbed and they're like, I'm really thankful that I worked that job that I hated my whole life, because I did 4 years of school for that job and it cost me a lot of money. So I'm really happy that I worked in that profession for 35 years after that, unhappily, but you know, it made up for the 4 years. Because that's a lot of people's mentality. Like a lot of people, you have to go to school, you have to get a certain job, you have to make a certain salary. And then when you're making that, you have to be secure, you have to get benefits, blah, 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 blah. And the train just doesn't stop. So then you're working in this job that you hate because your family or your friends are going to judge you because, you know, that's what you went to school for and that's what you paid all this money for. But you're wasting your life for everybody else. It's like, if you have a dream and you want to accomplish something, then fucking just go do it. Because like you said, you don't want to sit at the end of the day and be like, oh, I could have done that. I would have been successful. Like, go figure it out, find out, you know?
I think there's too much emphasis on security.
Oh God, yes.
Like you need
and not enough on happiness.
RSP, you needs to make sure that. I'm like if you could die tomorrow, like you have no idea. Even like Justin's mom passed away there 2 years ago next month, and she was 56. She was only retired a year. So like, don't just for retirement. Like, don't, like, she had so much things that she wanted to plan, and like, I mean, she did so much prior, but I mean, I'm sure she had so much other things that maybe she didn't do because, you know,
I'll do it when I retire.
I'm gonna save it. Yeah, life is too short.
Yeah, so like I said, and like that, I think that also is a huge thing in my head, that I'm like, you got like go for it, because you just don't know. You have no idea like what can happen tomorrow. You can, you walk out your door and get hit by the FedEx truck.
Yep.
My aunt, so like my aunt, God love her, she survived. She walked away without a bruise, but she was taking a nap on her couch and a car drove through her front window.
Oh, I remember that.
So like, you don't even need to go out of your house to get hit by a car. Like, you would literally, like, she's on her fucking couch in her living room and a car drove through it. So I mean, like, you know, like, if that doesn't make you appreciate your life and be like, oh shit, I'm just going to do things that make me happy, because I could be gone tomorrow. Like, I could have been taking a nap and got hit by a car. Like, what the fuck is that? You know?
People don't experience anything like that. So it's, you know what I mean? Like, and
it's true.
To get that fear almost in you, and like, you know, get that kick in the ass to be like, like I said, am I happy? Am I doing what I want and whatever like that? Like sometimes it does take that for you to
wake up,
do what you do what you're actually meant to do. And like
Mhm.
don't focus I feel like so many people focus on, like I said, again, I have to finish school and get a job and get married and whatever. Like live goddamn life. Like
and
Yeah.
do it by a certain date.
Yes.
I have
Oh
to get
my
married by this day and have kids by this. Well, I mean, kids are a little different for women because we've got a bit of a clock.
Yeah, a little
But you
bit.
know what I mean? Like, but you don't need to have all of your kids by 25, like let people live and stop. I'm just going to throw this out there while we're on it. People,
Stop
listen up.
asking.
Every single person, man, woman, not children, because you don't know any better, but men and women right now, listen to me. Do not ask people when they're going to have children. They will let you know by having children. You don't need to
Right.
ask the question. And also stop asking people who already have children when the next
When
one
they're
is
gonna
coming.
have one. Yep.
A
Yep.
little passionate about that, but just fucking stop asking.
people ask me all the time and I'm like,
Yeah.
Listen,
You're like,
it's
I
like
don't
me
know
and
when the
Melissa have
sperm
always
hits
said.
the egg. Like, do you want me to talk to you about my sex life so you can give me tips? Like, fuck
Yes.
off.
And
Stop
that's what we
asking.
always said. Like Melissa and I always used to joke around. It's like, when is it acceptable for us to be like, for people to say, hey, listen, are you having sex like all of the time?
Because that's the question.
That's exactly what the question is. It just sounds more polite when people
That's the
say,
question.
are you having children anytime soon? Like, when are you getting pregnant? When it's none of your business.
I used to tell people all the time, people would be like, well, when are you going to have a baby? I'm like, I don't know, when the fucking world decides I'm going to have a baby. Like, shut up.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Also, who knows? You could be having trouble having it. You don't know.
Well, and that's the other side of things, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Surrounding it. So it's like, yeah, stop asking that. And I mean, I asked Justin, but that's different. Like, when are you?
Well, you're in a relationship. Okay, I should backtrack. You can ask the people you're in a relationship with if you're family planning. That's allowed. But
That's
like,
different.
if you're not a
If you're
parent
not
of
in the
soon-to-be
relationship.
child, you can't ask somebody when you're going to have kids.
No,
Yeah.
Just stop it.
You don't get a say in this.
And even if the woman is visibly 9 months pregnant, if her water broke on your shoe, unless she tells you that she is pregnant, you just assume she peed on you and you just don't ask any questions.
Walk away.
That could be very insulting too.
Walk away.
Just
That's all I'm
walk
saying.
away. Yeah.
Oh, listen.
Anyway.
It's true.
So what does the future look like for Ethereal?
Oh, well, I have lots of plans. I'll give you that tidbit that I have.
We'll keep that under wraps for the public for now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's something I'm working on. There's something I'm working on essentially that I would like to see, because I want growth. I want to be able to have my business aligned where I want it to be. I want to, again, like I said, I eventually want to have children, and I'm going to be I'm gonna be on that mat leave. But but like I want to be able to have my business aligned, like I said, the way I had intended it, and I want to be able to, make Ethereal the best Ethereal it can be. And in that, there's a lot of growth that's coming with that. And this year has, which is crazy to say, but like this year has let me be able to do that, because I feel like so many people supported local this year and really focused on it. And I think that is not something that is to be lost, because with, people supporting me and supporting my dream and my store, like what I'm planning next is something to, again, contribute to Newfoundland and to the economy, to our community. And I wouldn't be able to do that if people just ordered off of Amazon, or they just ordered from H&M, or went to the mall, or whatever it is. Like, people really took the time out this year, especially to come downtown with the pedestrian mall and like get to see businesses and actually, spend their money with local people. And I think that was something that was kind of lost there for a while. And it's kind of coming back around. And it's something that is just so important that, maybe you're going to pay an extra $3, $5, even if it's $20 to buy something kind of similar to this that you can get at, some like Walmart or whatever. But you can actually put it into, a local person's
back into your economy too.
Yeah. And into, people. And also when you think about it, even in turn, like tourism, if you don't have businesses and fun things to do here, who's gonna come here?
Yeah,
Like,
It's true.
What are you gonna do? Like, where are you gonna go? Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to this abandoned downtown, whatever. Like, no, you're like, you wanna be able to I want to try and bring life to downtown, and I feel like so many local businesses are really trying to do that. And it's, I think people really need to focus a little bit more on, putting their money back into people they know and people that you can support. I'm not living in a big mansion or nothing. I'm living in a bungalow in
Not
Caroline.
yet. Not yet.
Even then, I still wouldn't, because I much rather, like I said, I could probably give myself another raise. Will I? No, I'm gonna go on to my next.
As your realtor, I don't want to hear you say that you don't want a mansion. If you could just support local and buy a really expensive house, I would appreciate it. But yes, I get what you're saying.
Like, I can sell you this house and you can buy another one.
right.
No, but like,
I've got plans.
I'm not one who has buttloads of money and I'm here, taking lots from my business. I keep everything pretty much in my business, and I take what I need to survive pretty much. And that's, I think that's a big thing. Like I said, people just need to just help support the people in their community, and people who that will keep again, tourism going, and just keep the businesses in downtown and other businesses around outside of downtown, of course, like thriving. Like the support local, shop small movement is just, I think, has just come up so much in the last year, because we just see the importance of keeping your money here. And even I found this year, I guess people can't go on trips and go to God knows where and spend $10,000 shopping wherever, like, or going, we're gonna go to Toronto and buy a bunch of stuff. It's like, we have great stuff here. Like, and
you just have to look for it.
Well, I got it right there for you.
Right. But if you know where to look, right?
I don't even bring in, like, I bring in 6 of each item. That is, 6 to 7, because one brand brings in 7, but everything else I bring in 6. And there's only 6 other people walking around in St. John's, or even I ship a lot of stuff out of St. John's to other communities and towns, but also outside the province. So you could very well, there'd be you and one other person wearing that in St. John's. Like,
which is super cool.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Because I'm the type of person, I don't want what everyone else is wearing. Like, I want something that's unique. I don't want to be like, oh, me and you are wearing the same dress from Dynamite. Great. Like, I don't want that situation. I want to be able to have something that's unique and different. So that's why I do what I do. And that's the whole reason. I mean, because I found, that's why I guess I brought in, what am I trying to say here? This is why I kind of started the shop.
Right.
Was I used to even go away, because I was like, there's like 2 places here that, that you can get something unique and different. So I used to go to Montreal. And then when I remember I came back, that was the last time that when I had my interview at Aldo, I came back and I was like, if I'm going away to do this, other people are doing it too. So why can't I bring that to Newfoundland? Why can't I bring that here and, have the different unique things that I look for when I go away? I can just get it here. Like, I mean, obviously we all love a trip. Don't get me wrong. But like, that was like the sole purpose, was just like, I want to go shopping because I don't want what everyone else has. And like, I would still, obviously I would shop local and everything like that before, but it's like, again, that was almost just like another push to be like, well, clearly the need is here. If I'm looking for it, other people are looking for it.
The signs were there for you. The signs lined up, right? Universe gives you signs. It does. We're getting really like, what's the word? I'm gonna say it wrong. I was gonna say metaphysical, but I don't think that's a word. I made it up.
I don't think that's the one, no.
Last question before I get you to plug the store. If you now, unless Crystal, do you have any more questions?
No.
So
Meg, talking a lot. Any question you did have, I'm sure I covered.
Right, you've covered them all. So Meg, if you could now, as an adult, like today, go back and talk to your 16-year-old self, what would you say?
Oh, God. Don't cut your hair.
Yeah, I've been there too, man. Same thing. Why did you do that? That didn't look good. Stupid.
Listen to your mother is what I should. That's definitely what I would say. No, if I could look back, I don't know. I guess be more confident. Don't own it. Like, I feel like I was always so scared to voice my opinion or to stand up for myself, or, like, I mean, even this is a completely, I guess, different route, but even when it came to like being in the workplace and like letting men take their stand over me, or even being sexually harassed in the workplace or whatever it was, that at the time, it was like, oh, well, he just smacked your butt, or he just called you this, or whatever it was. I really regret not standing up for myself more. Now I got the balls to do it because I feel like I can stand up for myself, but I feel like I didn't before. And owning a business actually really helped me in that I don't take shit from people. I'm like, no, well, this isn't going to work for me. I'm not taking it. Like, I'm not, like, if someone, makes me uncomfortable or whatever it is, it's like, you have to stand up for yourself. And I think as a 16-year-old girl, I just, you know what I mean? You just let people walk all over you. And it is something you learn.
You're afraid. I feel like we're taught at a young age to listen to your elders. Like, how many times I still get it now as a 32-year-old woman, oh, that person's older than you, so respect them. They didn't give me any respect. Like, why do I have to respect someone just because they're older? So like, absolutely, like, it's bred into you. So like 16-year-olds now, you're afraid to talk up to anybody older than you. You're like, I'm going to get grounded. I'm going to get expelled from school. I'm going to get like whatever. Like, you're told to like quiet that voice down. I think that's beautiful advice. Like, that's fucking beautiful.
Like, I think it's I've said it to Jill. I was like, I really want to instill that in, my niece Claire. Like, I want to make sure that she's like, she knows how to stand up for herself, because again, it's something that, like, I guess even as women, that we were told to not have a voice and everything like that. And, maybe even I could have started the store earlier if that was the case. Like, if I actually kind of had the confidence and everything like that at the time. But like, it's, like I said, just don't be afraid. Like, I remember, I think I started to kind of even feel that, like, a little bit more confidence even when I was working at the mall, because you get these people who think that they can walk all over you and they can say whatever they want to you. And I would many times be like, you can't talk to me like that, so please leave. Like, I did, this is in my 20s, but I mean, when I was 16 working at the mall, I'd be like, I gotta go get the manager, like,
crying. Tears running down your face.
Versus me being able to stand up for myself, which I like, because I mean, I definitely was verbally abused many times. I think I was 17 or 18 when I was like a key holder. So as a key holder, you're a floor manager, and you'd get people who, like, said I was young, so they would just take advantage of that, and they wouldn't listen to me. So it was,
and like, what is wrong with grown people to walk into a store and think that it is okay to yell at like a fucking 16 or 17-year-old? Because that happens so
Too
often.
much.
Or like a Tim Hortons worker, like, oh my God. So our best friend Selena, like, Selena. So it's a funny story. When we were growing up, like, we had this phase where we both hated each other. Like, it's a whole thing. Anyway, she started working at Tim Hortons, and we started to bond again because her first or second shift, she called me. We were not friends, very much hated each other. And she called me one night, and this might be a different timeline, but whenever it was, she called me and she was like, hey, what are you doing? And she started crying. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, it was just one of those things, like, whatever it was, like, we just had the connection. So even though we hated each other, she was like, no, I think it was like somebody called her a fucking idiot or something like that because she made the coffee wrong. It was like her first or second day. She was 15. She had to get permission to work there at the time because she wasn't yet 16 and old enough. And one of her first days on the shift, some guy came in and started calling her names and cursing and swearing at her. And I'm like, who thinks that's okay? Like, that, you're an angry person.
I would always say back, like, would you, if that was your daughter or son or your niece, your nephew, would you say that to them? How would you, if someone did that to them? And I actually said that to a customer once because they were verbally abusing me. And I was like, would you say that to your daughter? They're like, no. I'm like, well, don't say it to me.
Exactly.
Like, sorry, like, I'm not standing for it. I like, this was towards my end at all, though, that I was just like, I give no fucks. Because people, like I said, they'll try and walk all over you. So I commend anybody working in customer service, especially in fast food. Anyone working in customer service in the mall, fast food, what have you, it, like, treat them with kindness, even as an owner. Like, still please treat me with kindness, because again,
treat everybody with kindness.
everybody
Like,
nice.
the people who yell at other people are the unhappiest.
So
Like, if
miserable.
someone comes out and gets mad at you and they call you stupid and they call you this and that, that's coming from in here. Like, that's coming from everything they're saying to you, they feel about themselves. I'm like, tell me I'm wrong. Like, prove me wrong, because that is where it comes from. It's never a reflection on the person getting yelled at. It's a reflection of the character of the person doing the yelling.
Well, I mean, how could it be? Like, they don't even know you. You know what I mean? So they don't know you as a person. How could they possibly?
Yeah.
Well,
unless you're turning and you didn't put your blinker on, you don't deserve to get yelled at.
Or you didn't go through the yellow light and we both could have made it. God damn it.
Those are the only two reasons that you should ever yell at anybody.
Seriously.
Oh my God. All right, Meg, we loved having you on the show today.
We did.
So before
So
we
good.
leave, give us a little plug. So tell us where your shop is, the name again, shop number, email, whatever. Website.
you're like, what else do you have?
I'm like, how do people communicate these days?
Are you on the TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok. I don't know how to use it.
I agree.
Once you figure it out, I don't know how to use it yet, but I watch all the videos. I'm learning. I set up a TikTok for me and Crystal, and we've yet to do anything with it, but it's so addicting.
I think this is the first time I have felt old, that I'm like, oh, I don't know how to use this. So it's been I've been doing reels. I've been making those, but I haven't converted to the TikTok yet.
Oh, you will.
It's okay. Welcome to the club.
But right now my focus is on Instagram. So, but yeah, so the name of the store is Etheral Boutique. If you want to shop, always come down to the store. It's on 199 New Gower Street.
And it's the cutest. I have to say, it is the absolute cutest shop. Like, it is so comfortable, and like, it's not like, because there are shops that you can go into, or stores that you can go into, and you feel so uncomfortable, especially if it's a fashionable store. Like, and maybe again, that's not the store, that's like how the person feels going in. Like, I know, I mean, I know you can't tell tonight because I've got my real like flattering cardigan on, but like when I, walk into a store with all this like great clothes, like I can feel a little intimidated. Meg's store doesn't have that. And it's not because I know you, but like you walk in and there's just racks and racks of like this gorgeous clothing, but you've got really cool like little knickknacks too. Like, I love the stuff you bring in from like The Office and Friends, and like that's my jam.
I want it to be welcoming. Like, I feel like that was one of the things actually I really instilled in with the girls when I hired them. I was like, I don't ever want someone to feel uncomfortable when they come in. I don't want someone to come in and be like, oh God, like,
yeah, like the girl's like judging me, or like on her phone, like or talking on her phone to her friend saying about how garbage I am, or whatever. Like,
I know people who have had those experiences at other businesses, and I've also had those experiences in businesses that I'm like, I don't ever want anyone to feel like that when they come into the store. So like, that was one thing I really tell the girls. I'm like, talk, like, it's a very small space. That's uncomfortable if you're not gonna feel welcome. You have to invite them in. You have to, just have a nice chat with them, even if it's just like about the weather, or who cares? Like,
that's all we talk about.
Yeah, I mean, the weather here changes like every 2 seconds, so there's lots to talk about.
Yeah.
But like, I want to create a really warm, welcoming environment, and I'm really happy that you said that, because that's something I really strive to do. I want people to feel really welcome when they come in, no matter who they are, and that was something I'm very happy I feel like I've achieved.
Yes, you definitely have. Like, it's a great store. So sorry, I cut you off. Where is it?
So it's on 199 New Gower Street. So it's just across the street from the Delta. So once you're coming off the highway, I'm just right to the right. I'm like a little hidden gem is what I tell people. But yeah, so you can come down and shop there. We always have lots of parking out front. You can also shop on our website, which is how I started the business. So this is a great time. And that's etherealboutique.ca. And we do curbside pickup, home delivery, and like in-store shopping, and also Canada Post shipping to anywhere in Canada. And then you can also follow us on Instagram. So it's at shop.ethereal.boutique.
And how do you spell ethereal?
Someone took Ethereal Boutique as the Instagram many years ago. I guess.
Rude.
Right. They're like, can you sell it to me? So Ethereal is spelled Ethereal. I also just read that off of, I have a mirror from the shop. I was like, hold on. What, how do you spell? I'm after spelling it wrong before. I'm like, oh no, that's not right. So Ethereal, the real.
Oh, I love it.
So, but yeah, and on Facebook, I'm not big on the Facebook. I just kind of repost from Instagram to Facebook. If you want to contact me, Instagram is the way to go. But yeah, there's, like I said, we've so many new spring arrivals and so many new ones coming this week. Like, every week there's just something coming. So, and it's finally getting a little warm. So I'm getting real excited.
And she also has deadly sale sections. Like,
I
because I'm a sale shopper, and Crystal, I know you're a sale shopper.
Yeah, I
and
am.
man, like, so now, but you only thing with the sale section is that you got to get there fast enough because the prices are so good. Like, you put it on sale and it's just gone. Like, you gotta get there early.
It's like a lot of stuff tends to sell so quick for me. I don't even get
To put it in the sale.
Yeah. So, like, in my opinion, I would rather, like, I put it on half off immediately because I'd rather get rid of it and I want to get something new in. I don't want that taking up space in my store. I want to be able to get you something new and fresh. Okay, if that didn't do super well, then put it on the sale rack. Or sometimes it does super well and all 5 of them sell and this one just hangs out for like a month. And it makes no sense. But yeah, I always try to make sure the sale section is like fire. Like, it's if something, like I said, isn't doing maybe super hot, it could be the price point, whatever it is. And also, again, like both of you, there's definitely just sale shoppers, and I do not discriminate. Take it, buy it. I want to get new things. Have it. Great. You got a deal. Like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh God, I'm still shopping in the sale rack. They're judging me. I'm not judging you at all. I am very happy that you're interested in this piece, because I would like for you to have it. It's a wonderful piece, and I would like to get something new in. So,
well, I mean, you don't pick bad pieces. Like, that's the other thing too. Like, you know, it's like you're getting an amazing piece regardless. And like, if it goes on sale, you're getting it for a fucking even better price, because your prices aren't that crazy either. You know what I mean? Like, you've got great clothing, great prices, and then when they go on sale, you're just fucking winning.
Get me it up. So,
right.
And I try to make it I do everything about how do I shop?
Yeah.
Lots of people who shop like me. That price point is what I shop at. And I mean, I love a good sale. I guess I've been working in retail for so long. It's just so hard to pay full price for things.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you're like, no, like buying shoes full price hurts me because I paid half price for 7 years. Like, but I got to do it. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot, like I said, I feel like I have something, hopefully I feel like I have something for everybody. I mean, come down, check it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we definitely agree, and we really loved having you on the show today. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for coming on.
And thank you so much for having me. Sorry I talk so much.
No, it was so
what
good.
Our listeners like. All 12 of them are like, we love big talkers.
We love talkers. Well, I mean, you wouldn't be listening to a podcast if you didn't like people who talked.
A podcast,
right? Exactly.
Like,
what is a podcast without someone who talks a lot?
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks, Meg. And for everybody else, tune in Thursday where we go through our Big Brother like fucking rundown. There's a lot that's been happening on Big Brother. So it's gonna be a rundown and prediction episode of like, I can't even get over it. So and then you don't watch it? Okay, get out.
Love you, sorry.
Fair.
Long story. I'll explain a little bit when I stop recording now in a minute. But I didn't used to. I'm loving it now though. And then on Friday of next week, tune back in again for some great content from me and Crystal, and maybe a special guest.
Who knows?
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.